Hello, Assalamu alaikum, and welcome back to my channel Baking with Zeba. Today I'm going to bake an Italian bread which is called as focaccia, and trust me, this is super simple and easy recipe to make. I'm going to make it with maida. Later on I will also share a whole wheat version of this. So let's get started and check out the ingredients. So first thing we need is sugar, yeast, and this is extra virgin olive oil. You can also use normal olive oil, and some warm water. I'm not using milk in this, some salt, and this garlic powder, and this one is totally optional. I like garlicky taste in my bread, so I tend to add a bit. And this is maida, as I told you earlier. And to knead this, I'm going to use an electric kneader because this dough is going to be a little soggy dough, so I don't want my hands to go in there, so that's why. Okay, so the first step before making any bread, any sort of bread, is to activate the yeast. So in order to activate the yeast, make sure the water or the milk, whichever you are taking, is warm, not hot. And into that add in the sugar, which as the recipe demands, how much amount. And then you will add in the yeast. Just give this a quick mix and then leave it on the countertop for an about of 2 minutes to 3 minutes until the yeast gets proofed. When you see the frothy texture inside the mug, it means your yeast has been activated. If it doesn't become frothy enough, then it means your yeast is not working. And this bread is one such recipe which just turned out to be awesome in my first try itself, because I have attempted so many types of bread and I have failed on so many breads, but this is one such recipe which just came out perfectly in the first go itself. So I highly recommend you guys to bake this because it is so yummy and delicious also at the same time. So moving on, I have here flour, which is all-purpose flour or maida, and into this I'm going to add salt according to your taste. So I'm just adding here 2 pinches of salt, which may be about 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then I'm adding garlic powder. As I told you, this is totally optional. I like garlic flavor in my breads, in savory bread, so I add a little bit of garlic powder, but you don't have to. Just because I'm adding, you don't have to add it. So just give this a quick mix. Okay, so it's been 2 to 3 minutes and our yeast has been perfectly activated. Can you see the frothy layer on top of the mug? It means that our yeast is activated. Now I will pour in this mixture directly into the flour, and we will need some more water to knead the dough. Our dough is going to be very watery and very soggy in consistency, so I will be taking half a more cup of water for kneading it. But before that, let's blend this yeast mixture into the flour well. So this has been mixed well. Now I will need half a more cup of water to knead this dough, because we want really soggy dough. Only then our bread will come out good. You can also use your hand while kneading this, but since it will take longer time and we want a very smooth dough, so I prefer going with the electric blender. So the dough is done. I have used whole 1 cup of water, and here I am going to finish it up with 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Make sure you use olive oil because it is what gives the taste to the focaccia bread. So here it goes. And I'm going to grab my mixer once again and give this a quick mix so that the oil also gets incorporated and this dough becomes silky and smooth. Yep, it's done. So let me show you the texture of this dough. Can you see how sticky the dough is? It sticks to your hand when you don't apply any water or oil. So this is the consistency we need to make a focaccia bread. And in order to avoid sticking the dough in my hand, I'm going to put some water on my hand and just grab this and give this a structure. And before keeping it for proofing, kindly make sure you oil the bottom of the bowl so that it doesn't stick when it gets proofed. And I'm going to keep this inside the oven, which is not working, for an about of 20 to 25 minutes for its first proofing. So let's go inside the kitchen and keep it until this gets proofed. I'll show you the toppings for this bread. So here it is going to be onion, capsicum, Rosemary's traditionally fresh rosemary leaves are used. Since I don't have, so I'm using dried one. Chilli flakes and green olives and chopped coriander. As far as these toppings, it is totally optional. It is based on your taste and availability of vegetables, whatever you have. I like these vegetables on my focaccia bread, and a bit of herbs and pasta seasoning, and a bit of salt will go. So that's it. These are the toppings, and I'm waiting for my bread to get proof so that I could sink in all this into my bread. So this is the tin in which I am going to bake the bread. I have lined it with butter paper and oil all the sides well. So it's been 20 minutes. Let's see how the dough is. Wow, see how beautifully the dough has risen, and it has lots of moisture. So this is the type of dough we need for baking focaccia. Now I'm going to take this out on the working desk in whichever you're going to work. I'm just going to take it out, but before that, dust the flour, dust the surface well, and then use a scraper if you have. I have a plastic scraper, so it comes in handy when you are working with wet doughs. So I'm just going to collect all this and put it on the top of the platform which I have dusted. So just scrape out and take it on the platform, and the method which we are going to apply here is tucking in the dough. Just apply some dry flour whenever it sticks to the bottom and tuck it in for an about of 8 to 9 times. That's it. Don't over knead the dough, just tuck in and give it a shape so that we could put this on the pan. I'm really sorry guys, the next part of the video I don't know how it didn't got captured, so I'll explain you. What I have done is I have taken the dough, put it inside the tin, spread it out, and then applied some olive oil on top, and then I have put all the toppings whichever I took, and then I'm just going to do a process which is called as giving dimples to the bread. So just poke in the fingers inside the dough so that the toppings reaches to the bottom and it gives flavor to your bread. So this is called as creating dimples. This is the unique feature of a focaccia bread. This is how the focaccia bread looks like. And let me show you the closer look. This is how you put the dimples inside the focaccia bread. Okay, so this is totally ready. Now I'm going to season with some salt and some pepper on top of it. And this is totally fun and enjoyable. This is why I love baking breads. More than cakes, I love to make breads. Okay, so now I'm going to close this and keep for second proofing. I'm just going to leave this on this tabletop for the second proof. After 15 minutes, let me show you how the bread looks like, dough looks like. See, it has puffed up and it is beautiful in texture. Now the final step before keeping it inside the oven is make a mixture of olive oil, maybe 1 teaspoon of olive oil and 1 tablespoon of water. Just put it on top of the bread so that it gives the moisture to the bread. When this goes inside the oven, what will happen is it will create a nice upper texture, which is hard crust texture. So yeah, let's just put this, sprinkle it. If you have a sprayer, you can also spray this solution on top, and then preheat your oven at 190 degrees Celsius. This is going to go inside the oven for 30 to 35 minutes at 190 degrees Celsius. A quick tip here, whenever you're baking any hard crust breads, make sure you place at the bottom chilled water at the bottom of the baking rack, so that it will create steam effect inside the oven and then it will make the crust harder. Finally, after 35 minutes exactly, I have taken this bread out and it is completely done. And before letting it for cooling, I am going to just apply the oil and the water mixture on the top. If you're new to bread baking, you might be confused whether this is done or not. So a quick and easy tip is just push the bread. If it springs back, it means your bread is baked perfectly. I'm just taking this out by loosening the sides, and let me show you how beautifully and how perfect this focaccia has been baked. Can you see the texture of this bread? Beautiful enough. So let me cut and show you from inside how does this look. The tiny little air pockets inside the bread shows you that the bread is perfectly baked and it's ready. You can have this with any soup or just with any garlic sauce, mayo, or maybe just as a snack. This bread is flavorful and it's awesome. You will bake it weekly, trust me. Okay, then do like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, and if you're new subscribers, kindly tell me any feedback if you have to enhance the quality of the video. Until then, this is me Zeba signing off, and happy baking.